Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I will try to answer the question, what is the best type of realm in order to make some gold in World of Warcraft? I really get this question quite a lot, and also a lot of people are complaining about the fact that some of the items or some of the farms I'm talking about in some of my videos are unfortunately not worth anything on their realm. And so what I want to do with today's video is really just to explain, based on my opinion and my own experience, what are going to be the best realms you can really start playing on in order to make some gold, and what are the main activities you should do on each of these realms. So let's start with the high pop realms, high and full pop realms. So this is really probably like the realms where most of the people watching my videos are playing on, and the high pop realms are very interesting. Basically, when you are playing on this type of realms, the main advantages are going to be, of course, the fact that you will have a lot of people buying all the different items from the auction house, so you will have a lot of buyers. Also, before 9.2.7, there was all the different type of materials and everything that you could dream of for a very cheap price available on the auction house, which really was one of the best advantage of hyper realms before patch 9.2.7. And of course, the fact that everything is selling very fast compared to other type of realms. So these are, in my opinion, really going to be the three main advantages. But then there are, of course, a couple of downsides of playing on a hyper realm. So as you can imagine, as there are so many people playing and so many people interested in making gold on this type of realms, you will have a lot of competition. So it's going to be very difficult, first of all, to kind of find some markets where you can have a kind of monopoly. It's still possible because you have some items that are extremely rare or some items that people don't really think about. And so you can still do like these activities and try to have some items where you set up the prices and you really control the markets, but it's very difficult. Also, of course, as you can imagine, you will have to undercut and spend a lot of time on the auction house or maybe in trade chat trying to sell all your different items, because you have, again, a lot of people who are selling and crafting and doing all these different things. And so you will have to spend a lot of time doing also all these other activities. Of course, also for many items, unfortunately, the value can be very, very like cheap and very bad, because for some people, they will value the quantity over than the like profit. And so even like the smallest profits are for them interesting. And so they will try to really put the different items at the lowest profit available, only to first discourage the competition and to make sure to sell everything as quickly as possible. So sometimes, unfortunately, even if like a category of items or a farm can be very interesting for a short period of time, if this is something that many people are interested in, most likely the prices will tank very, very fast, and after that it won't become profitable anymore. For instance, I'm thinking, of course, right now in Shadowlands with the legendaries and with the different 262 BOEs and these type of things. If I take the example of K-Chak with another YouTuber making GoldMaking, and I really encourage you to go watch his videos. When patch 9.2 was released, he was one of the first ones to be able to craft all the different 262 and 233 BOEs on like most of the European realms. And on some hyper realms, he was really able to make up to like 30 million golds in like a couple of days, just because he was, again, the first one, and he was able to set up his own prices and to then really control the market. But in not even a few days, the prices completely tanked, and after that it was not interesting anymore. And this is the same with legendaries. Unfortunately, on many hyper realms, it's not really profitable to even craft these different items. So this is, unfortunately, I would say, the biggest downside of playing on a hyper realm. It's just that, unfortunately, many markets will crash very, very soon, very quickly, and also many markets will just not be interesting enough for people to actually invest in. Again, before that, the biggest advantage was the fact that you had like a lot of like gathering and crafting professions for all these materials that were really interesting, and it was easy to make a lot of gold by doing that, because again, it was selling very fast and the prices were not too bad. But unfortunately, with patch 9.2.7, most of the materials and crafted materials and all these different things that people were making a lot of gold with are now really worth close to nothing. And so it's really, I would say, the biggest downside from this new region-wide auction house for hyper realms. It's just that unfortunately now people cannot really make as much gold as they were able before, even if everything is selling even faster. So after that, let's move to the low pop realms. So low pop realms are also very interesting because they're the complete opposites of high pop realms. On low pop realms, the biggest advantages are going to be the fact that not a lot of people are selling most of the items that you can think of on the auction house, and so many times you will be able to kind of control the market and set up your own prices, which is very good. Also, of course, as I've explained, for instance, items such as legendaries and all these different items, the value will most likely remain interesting even like month after the release of the content, and even after a month of people crafting and selling all these different items. For instance, on my realm, I'm still selling some legendaries for like 100k gold more, even if now the materials are really worth not even like 5 or 6k. So it's just to tell you that as we are playing on the low pop realm, it's still something you can do because the competition is not as high. So the third point, of course, is also the fact that you don't have normally to spend too much time on the auction house and on all these other things in order to undercut and repost all your auctions. Of course, for specific categories of items such as legendaries and 262 BOEs and things like that, you still have to spend a little bit of time, but it's still going to be way easier to manage the competition and to still get some sales even without having to spend countless of hours on the auction house. After that, of course, as you can imagine, there are a couple of downsides. The first downside, and something that has been kind of fixed with patch 9.2.7, was the fact that on low pop realms, before that, it was very difficult to access many type of materials and crafting materials and consumables, which could be really, really difficult for some people to then invest in some like crafts and in some farms, because you had to kind of get everything on your own, which can take a lot of time, or you had to really buy them for a very, very expensive price, which could make some like farms and some crafts completely worthless. But now with patch 9.2.7, it has kind of been fixed, because now people can really do whatever they want and buy all these different items for a very cheap price. The downside, of course, of this change is the fact that before that, many people were able to control the markets for materials and crafting materials, especially things from older content. But unfortunately now, this is something that won't work anymore. And so a lot of people who had really this monopoly on the low pop realms will definitely suffer from this new change, and will have to find new ways to make some gold on these different low pop realms. After that, another obvious downside of playing on a low pop realm is the fact that you won't have as many buyers and like many people buying your different items as on a high pop realm. So sometimes it can really take you a lot of time to sell even just one or two items. Especially I'm thinking about, for instance, mounts or transmog items. When on a high pop realm, you can maybe sell like 10 of them a day. So this is really just something that people need to keep in mind when playing on a low pop realm. If you're just after something that will really sell super fast and you're just after that, then still it will be interesting, because you will have like the different current content activities and farms, and of course all the different materials that are no region wide. But still, next to that, all the other items will most likely take some time to sell. And of course, the like final downside, I would say, of like playing on the low pop realm is the fact that many people don't really have the gold to spend on all these different items. And so unfortunately, many times, even if you find some people who are interested in buying some of your items, they won't be able to really purchase them for like the price you're asking for, or for anything that will make you kind of rich. So this is, of course, something important to keep in mind as well. Finally, let's talk about medium pop realms. So medium pop realms are a good mix of both the low pop and the high pops. By that, I mean that you have a lot of people playing on these different realms, but you still have like enough liberty to find some markets where you can like try to set up your own prices, and still enough like, profit even with current content items such as legendaries. So For me, medium pop realms are going to be interesting again because you can sell many different things a little bit faster than on a low pop realm and for a little higher price than on a high pop realm. But next to that, of course, the downside is that, again, you will still suffer from more competition and you will most likely be able to sell these items only for like a smaller price than on the low pop realm. And of course, many times again, you can have like people who will completely ruin some of the farms and some of the markets. And so it's always a little bit more risky than a low pop realm, I would say. But it's something that for someone who wants to just try many different type of farms and who just wants to experiment and do different type of activities, I would say it's probably something that can be very interesting because you can really try many different things and see what is going to be the most profitable or not. So as a conclusion, I would say that for me, especially now with patch 9.2.7, low pop realms are really going to be the best realms in order to make some gold. I'm sure that with Dragonflight, for instance, whether it's the different trinkets from the Darkwind pair or the different armor pieces you will be able to craft or anything else that you will be able to craft and sell, people will be able to now craft them for a very, very cheap price and to then sell them for a very high price on the realm. Where on the hyper realm, even if you will like sell things faster, unfortunately, most likely all these different markets will like really tank very, very fast. And so after that, it won't really become as profitable as it was. And you will still have to also compete with all the other realms from the region when it comes to gathering and all these other items. So probably everything on that side will anyway be only interested for a couple of days and then really be kind of irrelevant just because there are too many people farming all these different items. So for me, really, if you're into like playing, trying to really have a lot of different items, trying a lot of farms, and just not willing to like spend too much time undercutting and posting and doing all these different things, honestly, a low pop realm would be perfect. Again, if you're someone who just wants to like keep gathering things and try to like, you know, then craft things on your realm and sell them for like cheap price but still very fast, then a high pop realm might be the best. But really, my conclusion is going to be low pop realm is probably the best. And then it's really in between medium pop and high pop realm. I would still say probably if you choose one of the two, maybe go with a high pop realm simply because medium pop realms, even if you will maybe be able to sell some items for a higher price and everything, you will still have a lot of competition and you will still need more time to sell all these items. So I would say for me, the ranking is first low pop, second high pop, and third medium pop realm. But it's really based on my own experience and on my own opinion. So please feel free to add your opinion in the comments and also to share your own experience. So I will leave you on that note. I will be back very soon with more videos and with more guides. And hopefully all these different videos will help you to see a little bit clearer how to make some gold in World of Warcraft and to start in the most efficient way. Thank you everyone for watching and I will be back very soon. Bye.